Chinese President Xi Jinping will have his first state visit here in Philippines, and it's also his second time here in Philippines since APEC 2015. So, how what's your expectation of his visit, and how do you comment about the bilateral relations between China and the Philippines?
The visit of President Xi Jinping cannot come at a more perfect time. We have already seen the normalization and the improvement of our bilateral relations with China since President Rodrigo Roa Duterte came into power in June 30, 2016. We have experienced more investments coming from China. We have experienced more tourists influx coming from China, and we have also enjoyed the confidence of the Chinese market in terms of our exportation of fruits, vegetables, and other food products.
Oh, sir, we know that you visited China for several times and met President Xi Jinping in different occasions. So, what's your impression about the President Xi Jinping?
My impression of President Xi Jinping is he is a very humble, very diplomatic, and a very friendly president. I think he gives every person that he talks to the importance, and he is a very astute politician, I think, because the first time I met him, it's like he was my friend for the longest time.
Sir, let's talk about the impression about China. When is your first time visit China?
I'm not sure if it was 2016.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure when the president.
Sir, okay.
I'm not sure about the dates, but my first visit in China was a very memorable one because obviously that was a visit where I already met right away President Xi, and I was able to meet the different high-ranking leaders of the People's Republic of China. We were warmly welcomed by the government of China. We were able to go around Tiananmen Square, and we were able to visit also the People's Palace of China.
Sir, before you went to China the first time, can you tell me what's your impression? What's your impression about China before your first time go to China? What's your impression of China?
Before I went to China, my impression before I went to China, well, my first impression of China was that it was a country that was not friendly to the Philippines. And it was a country that was backward in a way that it did not compare with the other Western countries. But when I went to China, that disproved all of my expectation and what I felt and what I thought about China, because I thought I saw highly developed Beijing. I saw the big buildings, I saw the huge roads, the airport. It really impressed me, and I thought that the China that I knew in my mind and the China that I heard on Western television and Western radio was completely the different China that I saw, because I was seeing already a China that was so progressive that development was even better or comparable to the first world countries around the world.
You know, this Monday is our state council, and for Mr. Wang, he met the President Duterte and have a good talk. The President Duterte said the only problem between Philippines and China is the South China Sea dispute, and keep the peace is the only right way to resolve it. So, what's your attitude about some sensitive issues between two countries?
There are so many countries that have problems with one another. There are so many countries that are arguing about borders, about territories. Philippines is no exception. It is only one of the problems of the Philippines. And between the relationship of China and the Philippines, it's only one problem that has been politicized so much. But I believe that there's so many advantages, there's so many fruits or low-lying fruits to harvest between the Philippines and China and its relationship. And I think that we should set aside the differences and concentrate in a much optimistic way by looking at what is good and the good factors that are available for both countries to harvest. Neighboring countries in the ASEAN region, we have Vietnam, who are also claimants of the South China Sea. We also have a neighboring country, Japan, that also has the same argument with China. And the way it is being covered by media is just the way how it is. But the media and how it is covered and how our diplomats act towards each other are two different matters. Governance is different from media coverage. And what is important is what both countries can solicit from one another and the good things that can be fostered out of this relationship.
Sir, this Monday is also the 8th anniversary of the establishment of PCOO. When you became the secretary of PCOO, you do a lot of things to improve the cooperation between the Philippine media and the Chinese media. For example, you joined the TV show in CCTV, and also you help the cooperation between PB and the CRI. So how do you comment on the cooperation between the Philippine government media and Chinese media?
The cooperation and the relationship between Philippine government media and the Chinese media is very healthy. China has always been very helpful to the improvement of Philippine government media, and I am very grateful for the Chinese people and the People's Republic of China and President Xi Jinping and my counterparts in China for always lending a helping hand and improving our media.
So, okay, a follow-up question. How is your comment about the cooperation between CRI and the PBI or Radio Pilipinas?
Both of us, Radio Pilipinas or the Philippine Broadcasting Service and China Radio International, have a very good and a very promising relationship with one another. I think it is very important for us to work together because people-to-people exchanges, cultural exchanges, educational exchanges can be harnessed better with the help of the radio medium. You know, when you broadcast, 100, 1,000 people can hear you, can listen to you. When we talk to each other, it's only you and me. But if we talk and it's being broadcasted all over the country, then perhaps it is amplified 1,000 or maybe 10,000 or 100,000 times.
Okay, another follow-up question. Thanks for your support, the China Radio International and the PBI has a joint program called World China, which aiming to make a better understanding between Chinese people and Filipino people. It already has broadcast in Radio Pilipinas 1, and every Saturday 2 to 3 p.m. after the cabinet report. I think it's the second popular program in Radio Pilipinas. Only follow your cabinet report. So can I ask you to say something about, and also our program is very popular for the overseas Filipinos. So can I ask you to say something about the audience of World China?
To all of the listeners and the viewers of Wow China over China Radio International and the Philippine Broadcast Service or Radio Pilipinas Uno, thank you so much for listening. This program is one of the best programs that we have in terms of bilateral cooperation between two countries, and we can only improve this program and we can only serve you more for the betterment of our relationship, for the people-to-people exchanges, for the cultural exchanges, for the educational exchanges, for the information exchanges of our both our countries, and for our both people. Mabuhay ang Wow China over Radio Pilipinas Uno and China Radio International. Thank you so much.
Okay, maraming salamat po. So let's back to the cooperation between media. So do you have some plans to improve the cooperation between two media of two countries? I mean, not only the government media, but also the private media with of two countries.
We have started to send also representatives from private media companies here in the Philippines to Beijing, to Shanghai, and to the programs that the People's Republic of China has offered the Philippines or government. The scholarship that was given to us the last time, we included some members of private media, and I hope to be able to send more media personnel from the different provinces of the Philippines, 81 provinces and more than 113 cities, and hopefully we can send more people so that they can be exposed to the beauty of China and how broadcast is being done in the People's Republic of China. One way or another, some people or most people have an ancient way of thinking of how your country or how your broadcasters deliver the news and even play music and entertain. But as I said earlier, it's quite the opposite. China is very much ahead of the competition in terms of technology and in terms of technique, and we can learn a thing or two.
Sir, the cooperation between PCOO and other departments of the information in China, for example, the state administration of TV and the radio. Capital, they will have agreements with PCOO about the cooperation. How you comment on this cooperation?
We're expecting to sign this cooperation within this month, and this cooperation should improve further the relations between the Presidential Communications Operations Office and the state radio and television of China. And we do hope that, and we are very optimistic that this will happen smoothly and great things to come ahead.
Sir, okay, we know nowadays we read some report about your next stop. So I know next stop. So we also know do a lot of good jobs to promote the government policies. For example, you have a cabinet report or you have a presser. So how do you evaluate your job in the past 2 years? And in the last past 2 years, is anything you regret? Or if have, what's this?
It is very self-serving to evaluate myself, but what I can tell you is I was able to successfully push the 3 policies that I wanted to introduce in this administration. One is the freedom of information, the second is the Task Force on Media Security, and the third one is reverting the PCOO to the Office of the Press Secretary. And those 3 looks like already in the bag. Well, the 2 are already in the bag, and the Office of the Press Secretary will really happen, and it will happen under my incumbency. The improvement of our infrastructure of television, radio, and our news agency is very evident. Our followers on Facebook, Twitter, and on social media is very evident as well. It's very strong, and I think the relationship with PCOO with other countries like China and other ASEAN countries is very strong. It is the first time that the communications arm of government has embarked on a very ambitious plan to work together with other ASEAN and our other neighboring big countries like China, Japan, even the United States, and even other countries like Australia. So I think my 2 years and 4 months have been very, very fulfilling, and I can only wish the entire PCOO the best of luck, and I can tell them that it stands on better ground right now, and it is ready to go to the next level.
Okay, sir. In this February, you said in the first National Information Convention, you said you must leading the campaign against fake news, and you asked all the information officers to touch the ground. So how is this campaign now?
It was very successful. We're still moving on with we're still moving forward with the Dismiss This Information campaign. I was able to open the subject of fake news in a roundtable discussion with the other ASEAN leaders, and it was adopted by Singapore during the ASEAN this year, and they openly recognized our work at the PCOO, and they thanked us for initiating the talks about fake news and how to counter this. And overall, I think people have very high awareness about fake news, about disinformation, but you know, it's an endless climb. We must work continually until we inform every Filipino.
So is there anything you regret in your job?
The only thing I regret about my job is I have less time for my family, but they understand.
So the last question is about the overseas Filipinos. We know you are very concerned about this topic, and when you visit China, I also watch you report about this. But as the development of the bilateral relations between China and Philippines, I think there will be more and more Filipinos will go to China for work, maybe for study, for tour, or for this. So, what's your messages for those Filipinos in China?
When I went to China and I met the overseas Filipino workers in China, they were so happy that the relationship of China and the Philippines have improved in comparison to how it was prior to the Duterte administration. Filipinos are proud now to be Filipinos in China. They're not looked down by the Chinese residents in China. And since we are exporting more goods to China, and since Chinese investors are investing more in the Philippines, and since President Xi Jinping also encouraged the entry of English teachers in China, I can only say that and hope that Filipinos continue to apply for work in China so that they may see, so that their horizons may broaden beyond the shores of the Republic of the Philippines. And once they come back to the Philippines, it is my hope, it is my prayer that they bring things that they learned in China to our country, so that one day our country will become as progressive as the People's Republic of China.
Okay, last question. What's your message for them?
The Philippines is very friendly to Chinese investors. The Philippines is very friendly to Chinese tourists, and we are very friendly to Chinese media. As a matter of fact, the Chinese media have been instrumental in spreading the good news about the Duterte administration. You are more than welcome here in China, and as long as I'm in government, even in my private capacity, if I'm no longer in government, I will continue to help any media personality, any media company, whether you're from China or from another country. But if you want to go to China, if you want to go to the Philippines, just look at Wang and ask him if he is happy in the Philippines.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your job.
Thank you.